Everywhere you look, there's
I,
a place that somebody who needs. We
I,
lost out there all alone. Something waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look. Do everywhere you look. Sorry, my daughter has been watching a lot of Full House lately.
I was just gonna ask if that tied into the episode or if that's just how you're vibing today. No, that's okay. Yeah, no tie-ins. Cool. That's fine. Yangchen, she's family. It's fine. I still had the Baba Booey
I
stuck
threw
in my
you, I
head
threw,
from.
I threw you all off. Go with your normal thing.
Yeah, normal thing. Hey, everybody, my name's Shawn. That guy up there is my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter and Full House fame. And today we're going to talk to you about the book whose title I already forgot, Rise of Yangchen, which is the coming Yangchen novel by the same guy who wrote the Kyoshi novels, whose names I'm sure I could
FCE.
remember if I tried. FCE. Same situation where I think it's being sort of oversighted by Michael,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Bryan. Well, I
Michael
mean, I'm sure
Dante. Yeah,
Bryan's
Brian does nothing with it the best of my knowledge.
Bryan
Like
doesn't read
I'm sure
words.
Brian Brian probably texts him like every now and then, like I'd be with you, just like, hey, does this seem outlandish? He's like, nah,
Or is it
go with
like
it.
Bryan feels like a third wheel? Like he texts, it's like, "What you doing?" Is like writing a book with FCE, and then like sad music plays in Bryan's background. Like, oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. No, well, it really seems like Michael Dante DiMartino is even like somewhat. He's a consultant, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't think he has
Glorified
any.
co-writer. I think he's more so a consultant
I bet
just to
he gets
keep
to
LCE.
frame things in the historical chronology of
Yeah.
Avatar. But well, hey, we're gonna talk about that and all the things that we do know, which is super duper little. So it's mostly gonna be us guessing at things today. But before we get to that, as always, Chris, how are you? What have you been up to? What's the score of the Golden State game, etc.?
Don't tell me.
I always forget that
Uh,
you are a normal human and you do those things. I'm the weird one, not you. It's fine.
this week sucked for various reasons. I don't really dive into because just the type of shooting stuff, just gonna make me sad and cry more. But bright side is I bought a Quest 2, and it's pretty cool so far. Even though I've only played one game, it's the Beat Saber game, which is just really cool.
It's kind of the game, right? Like you're sort of supposed to at least
That's like the poster child
the killer
game, I
app.
think.
Yeah, that's killer app.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll echo that soon. This week sucked on a lot of fronts, and so rough week. I feel like this is the first time. Like I was looking forward. I always look forward to our podcast, but usually I'm looking forward to like discussion. Today I was looking forward to it just so I could like sit in a chair for like a few minutes.
Oh.
I was like, listen, it's the opportunity for nobody to just like bother me, and I can just be here for like a minute. So yeah, I'll echo that sentiment. Um, I also, well, they didn't come yet, but I did pre-order some games. What did I pre-order? Oh, I pre-ordered the Hogwarts Legacy game for Switch and the
Okay.
Turtles collection for Switch. They're both coming out allegedly around Christmas time, and Hogwarts will be quote unquote for Heather, and the Turtles will be for me at Christmas, and mostly they'll both be for me. No, Heather will play Hogwarts Legacy, and we'll probably fight over the Switch like idiots. So that's my positive
Yeah.
game in trying to save our weeks right now. Well, in that case, though, let's get away from crappy week stuff and talk about the rise of Yangchen. Chris, do you want to
The
tell us
Rise of
what we
Yangchen.
tell us what little we know, right? And then we
Well,
can cast our own projections.
yeah, so they recently came out with, just the same way they did with Rise of Kyoshi. Wait. No, this one's called Dawn of Yangchen, not Rise of
Dawn of
Yangchen. So
Yangchen,
Rise
you're
of,
right.
yeah.
Cut. Got to start it over.
That's
Just kidding. I'm way
that's
too
way
lazy for that.
too
I'll get it
that's
right
way
in the
too
title.
repetitive. That was pretty lazy of them. They're just like, what was the last one? What was the first one called? Rise of Kyoshi? Was this one about Yangchen?
Shadow of Kyoshi.
How about we just do it again? Rise of Yangchen. This one's Dawn of Yangchen.
Okay, but
Which is
dawning and rising, that's pretty so close. That's pretty close. But what was the
Yeah,
second one? Was Shadow of Kyoshi?
honestly it's kind of a yeah. Rise of Kyoshi was the first one, then Shadow Kyoshi was the second one, and this one is the Dawn of Yangchen.
What I like
Oh, this is kind of superficial titles to add
kind
a
of
name.
ambiguous. Yeah. What I like about it is, it like think about Dawn of Yangchen, like the sun is that way, and then like Shadow of Kyoshi. It's like it was a rise of Kyoshi. The sun's in front, and the shadow
Mhm.
is the shadows behind her, or something like that. There's like some meaning in there that we can project onto that doesn't actually mean anything,
I
but
mean,
we can
honestly, I
make
wish
it
they had
mean
a better
something.
title. But, like the first one, I give it pass. Shadow Kyoshi, it sounds a little cooler, but um,
But the
Dawn of
shadow of
Yangchen, I don't know. I
Kyoshi
would.
felt like it was less representative of the book. Like at least Rise of
It
Kyoshi, like I'm
did.
kind of giving it a
Yeah.
pass because it sort of made sense, even if
Yeah.
it's lame.
Yeah.
That's okay, FC.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna read it.
He probably, I mean, I'm sure like the publisher was like, hey, we need a good title that sells the gist of the book. And I was
It's
like,
the
all right,
YouTube
whatever,
conundrum, right?
Dawn.
Like if you want people to see it, you got to put like the YouTube title on there instead of the title that you want on there.
Yeah.
I
Like
get
I
it.
don't know what I would name it because I haven't read the book. Yeah. But maybe
Yangchen the
the
badass, pow pow.
yeah.
Like
Maybe honestly, I would call it just from the little excerpt we got from this. I'll probably call it like Dawn of Yangchen, Tortured Souls, something to that effect. Anyway, so
that's some Dark
Sean,
Souls caliber stuff right there.
did you have a chance to read the little chapter insert that they probably not?
Nope. I just read
Which that's
that
fine.
one. I just read like that one paragraph, the basic, where they just
Okay,
talk about the whip. That's all I got.
yeah. And then after that, they had like the same way the Rise of Kyoshi did. They pretty much did like kind of a chapter out of the book. Really, it's probably, if I had to guess, 6 pages or so straight out of the book. Um, so
I
it was
actually
really
didn't
interesting.
really
So
remember this from. Oh, in the Rise of Kyoshi, that was like at the end of the book, and they put
yeah,
the first chapter of the next book. Okay,
no,
okay.
they did when she went to go fight Tagako, the pirate queen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
so that was that one.
I do vaguely
In this
recall now.
case,
Okay.
it starts off with kind of a girl, and her name is Jet Sun. I'm sure it's pronounced Jetsun. Is spelled Getsun, and it's like she hears screams welling from down the hall. She's running and running, and she's clearly an air nomad. She's like, oh, she's running through the monks and all the robes and stuff, and no one seems to really be worried that she's running. I guess it's not out of the ordinary that she's running towards something, and like they just hear these yells and yells and screams from down the hall, and then so she gets to um, the library, but she has to rush to the library for some reason. And of course, you being the reader, you have no idea what's really going on. They just put you into this, it's an excerpt probably from like chapter, probably from a quarter of the way into the book. This one's probably actually earlier now that I think about it. Um, and so she's running and running towards the library. She's like, she talks to this other library lady. I forget her name. She doesn't seem all that important to it, but she's like, Miss Susie. And she's like, Miss Susie. Like, I don't know. That's all I know. So then they go searching the books for Miss Susie. And then the library lady grabs one. She's like, here, just take it. And then, and the girl, Jetsun, runs down the hallway again. And she gets to like the infirmary ward or wherever it is. And she's in the Western Air Temple. Um, and she's like, and they do a pretty good job painting a picture of like the Western Air Temple, right? Like upside down buildings and everything, things like that. And she gets there, and then she starts reading to um, to this young girl who's like 8 years old, and she starts reading just like a manual of I can't even how to stop like water droughts or something like that. Explain it, but the author on it was named Mesuse, and it calms down the girl who's screaming and stuff. Like the girl who's screaming, like she like she's not necessarily screaming in agony, but she's screaming in like she's not screaming in pain, but more like uh something has come over her,
Like a terror or like a
almost
nightmare
like a
scream,
almost like an almost like
exorcism.
uh, a possession,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so it turns out, and so she's reading the manual, And she's like, wait, who the heck? What the heck is this? And then it's written by Miss Usei. And then, but reading the manual seems to calm the girl down. The girl falls asleep. And then eventually the library lady is like, so who is? Oh no, the Jetsun is like, so who is Miss Usei? And the library lady is like, well, actually, it was like the friend of Avatar Gun, spelled Gun, Gun, probably pronounced Goon or something along
No,
those
I
lines.
like
I know it's not
Avatar
pronounced.
gun. Bullet
It's
bender.
probably yeah, probably Avatar Goon. Um, and then she was saying like, yeah, Miss Usei was like his friend, and he couldn't save him. He died in a tsunami that the Avatar failed to stop. And so like this young lady is who's been screaming is Yangchen. Like she gets, and they go on to the book and explain it. Like she gets these visions and stuff, and she cries out, or even sometimes happy memories of past lives in their lives. And then they're saying like, yeah, she did this from when she was like very little, like five. And eventually, like they start noticing that she's talking about people who like she talked about an Earth King who lived 3 centuries ago, and they're like, oh, okay, well, she's the Avatar. Um, and I would have thought they would. Well, I don't know how the Eastern Air Temple did the test. Actually, I'm not sure they did the test the same way. But no matter what, they know that she's the Avatar, and uh, and then you come to find out that this girl, Jetsoon, is like they. Never mind, I'll get to that point in a bit. But um, Jetsoon is really close to Yangchen, and and Yang Chen just keeps seeing like these visions and stuff of past avatars' lives. But it's kind of like a curse in a way. Like she has all of these lives living in her that's just kind of taking over her life and her body and her mind. It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, no wonder she kills people. She got voices in her head.
Which which we just say she we just assume that she's never like we strongly assume that she's killed people before because she seems fine with the idea even as an air nomad.
That's
But
fair. I don't know that we have legitimate evidence, but like, yeah, if we're taking bets, that girl
um
kills.
yeah. Um, and so later in the book, it's like 3 years later, Yang Chen is 11, and she clearly knows that she's. And when she was 8, one of them was like, she's smart enough to figure out like what these things are eventually. And by the time she's 11, she figures it out. She's like, she knows that she's the Avatar, and um, but Jetsoon is like her best friend. Pretty much Jetsoon is her sister, because they say in the book like she does something, and Yang Chen is proud of her. She's like, "Yeah, I expect this from like my sister," but and then it goes on, and so that really caught my attention. Like, oh, finally, the Avatar has a sister, has a sibling, and none of them ever have siblings. And then it says, but they're not blood related though. Well, they might be. They might be like fourth or fifth cousins or something like that because air nomads don't know. Like they're
They don't
just
write that crap down.
yeah. Well, let me read exactly what it says because I found it to be.
But real quick though, wouldn't it
I
be
know.
sad like if you thought that your kid was next in line to be the Avatar, you thought they stood a chance, and they got pregnant with another child, and you're like, guess it's not us.
Yeah. Let's see. It says, as if Yang Shen needed another reason to worship her older sister. Jasun wasn't related to her by blood. Maybe she was in the matter of fourth or fifth cousins, but it definitely didn't matter because, she really was. They really did see her as a sister. Um, Oh, and then a little insert that I'll read from when she was 8 says the first time the child went through this being like getting visions and strong feelings, they had no clue as to what was happening. The healers did their best to cool her fever and keep her as comfortable as they could. As the incidents reoccurred, her babbling, incoherent at first, started to coalesce into sentences, names, slices of conversations. The words meant nothing to her caregivers until one day they heard her talking to His Majesty of the Earth Kingdom Zhao Li, a man she'd never met who died 3 centuries ago. There's something else about it that was interesting. Oh, they're saying that like some people who she talk about is never known in history books at all. Like it's just like I'm not saying it's random people, but it's people lost to history. Other people are known in history that they didn't even know
People
knew the
known or
Avatar.
only in oral history, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Um,
sick.
and then yeah, then they said, oh, and then that Avatar Goon. So we got a new Avatar name, Avatar Goon, and or Gone, maybe Gone, maybe it's Gone. No, Gone is Gon. Maybe Gone. Anyway,
What?
um,
Where's he at bender wise?
don't know. I'm
So we
assuming
don't
an
know how far back he
air.
is. Okay.
No, we don't know. I'm assuming Airbender because Airbenders seem to have names with G's in them, and also N's, and so
That's
two of
fair.
the three letters
I
is a
was
G and
hoping he
N.
was
I
a
mean, you got.
waterbender, so he could be water goon. Thought that would be fun.
Okay. Um, and so it says like he failed to hold the tsunami back, and so even though it's like it's a feat itself to hold a tsunami back, but the Avatar like saved the whole bay, but his friend still died, and like in a way he still like feels and carries that burden. Um, oh, and then in later chapter or later little session, kind of 3 year span, Jetsoon like already it's like great at going through the spirit world and stuff like that, and Yangchen hasn't yet, and and she's trying to Jetsoon is trying to guide Yangchen into the spirit world. And by the end of it, she does, and that's kind of where that little insert ends. But I found it really interesting, and I don't know, I'm really excited to see how Yangchen handles this like schizophrenia of avatars.
Instead of having like good cop, bad cop on your shoulders, you just got like 100 different voices telling you all kinds of different crap, having conversations. You're like,
Yeah,
oh
I'm
boy.
assuming like just from that little quote from Shadow of Kyoshi where Yang Chen is like where Kyoshi is like she's pretty much like, did I do the right thing? I forgot what she did exactly. And Yang Chen is like, listen, you could ask all of your past lives what best advice to give you, and they'll give you different answers, and it might not be the right answer. Like to me, that's Yang Chen has dealt with like, oh, I am confronted with all of these past lives, hundreds of them, all the time. None
Every
of them gave me
damn
any.
day.
Yeah, they were freaking annoying. Like, just do your own thing, Avatar Kyoshi. Don't even listen to me. Just break the connection. For one day, we're gonna get an Avatar who's gonna break the connection, and they're gonna be the best Avatar ever.
All right, calm down. For all we know,
um,
Avatar Gun could be the best Avatar ever.
that's true. Yeah, it could be. I don't know, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see another Avatar who knew they were Avatar really early and how it affects them. So this is like the third one, right? So Korra knew, and it's interesting the reasons why they knew early. Like Korra knew because she was just a BA. Like she was just so skilled. She was, bending the three elements with ease as a little kid to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think if you
And then
come
Yang
out like,
Chen,
I think if you come out bending like three in a row, people are like, okay, that one.
yeah. I mean, Yang Chen is probably just so actually so spiritually attached that like maybe a past avatar saw her as a conduit to finally let out, maybe even subconsciously, very very subconsciously, let out their rage and feelings of a bunch of feelings.
um, and I'm excited to step farther back into history to hopefully scratch a little deeper lore, maybe learn something about another avatar or two, just to go deeper backwards. I usually prefer backwards to forwards. I know that kind of ruined some of the last year with like prequels because you quote unquote you sort of know what happens to some degree, but we really don't.
I
We're
don't
we're
think
far enough
so.
back. This is
I think
like
there's so
Knights of the
much
Old Republic
room.
far back. Like you don't really know what's gonna happen in Star
Hmm.
Wars when you play Knights of the Old Republic. But so yeah, I'm excited to step backwards in particular, and then it's exciting to have another Airbender avatar, and who clearly, whether or not she kills, clearly is going to cope with things a different way than Aang, and that's pretty exciting. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about what teeny tiny bit we know about the conflict of the story.
Oh, I mean, I don't really
Ever
know that
so
much about the
slightly.
conflict. I forgot exactly what that insert said. I know it just said like she's not sure who to trust, things like
Yeah.
that.
So the
Oh, never mind.
summary,
I remember now. The
yeah,
weapon
the
of mass
summary is
destruction.
like she goes to an Earth Kingdom city, and there's this group that doesn't trust the Earth Kings, and it seems like there's a lot of I forget what the word is, like in Batman they use the word all the time. I can't think of it. Like government officials taking
Corruption?
bribe, corruption. Thank you. Don't know why I couldn't think of the word. A lot of corruption, things that kind of suggest that. And then this group called the Shangs has this super secret weapon of mass destruction that's somehow going to level the playing field. And that's really all
So
it tells me.
that seems so far removed from from the story.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it does. That's the fun thing about the excerpt, though, is like to get a real piece of the actual book, and you're trying to wrap a sense around it or wrap your feelings around it. It's like you have no idea what's going to go on in this book. But
yeah.
not the summary. I mean, the summary alone did a good enough job of kind of getting me hype. Like it teased me the right way, so to speak.
I mean, gosh, I forget when Shadow Kyoshi wrapped. Was that in 2019?
It feels like it's been that long.
Yeah,
Like
definitely wasn't. It definitely
summer
wasn't
2019.
2020. Yeah, I think summer 2019.
It's been that long since
So
either one of us has read a book.
that is true. Wait, no.
Incredible.
Well, I started to read this one book for my leadership program, and then because the little teacher lady was like, "Oh yeah, if you ever read this book, you should catch up on it tomorrow. We're going over it." Like, wait, what? We got to read this book? So then I
What?
started reading the book. So then I started reading the book, and I was like, I could probably find the audio
If it's a
book,
leadership
and I found
type,
it and listened to.
if it's a leadership type book, there's like five concepts that you need to take
It
away,
was
and you
actually a pretty good book, I think. It kind of changed how you. Anyway, real quick about the book. The book is about self-deception, which in this case, self-deception is when you do something contradictory to how you would ideally do something, and then they quote it as put yourself in a box, right? So like if I like for instance. The other day I was at Walmart and I saw this guy with jumper cables and he was like right by my car. Thing is, I was in a rush to get to a meeting. I was like, ideally, thing is, this was before I even this. I'm sorry, not the other day. This was really like a month ago, but it was like the day right before I started reading the book. I was like, in an ideal world, I would help him jump his car with my car, but I was in a rush because I had a meeting at 1 o'clock. I was leaving Walmart parking lot at like 12:55, and so he asked me, he was like, "Hey, yeah, I need a job." I was like, "Oh, sorry, man, I'm in a rush." He was like, "You don't think I'm in a rush either?" I'm like, "Sorry, I'm in a rush." But like, even though I acted more so in my benefit, I still betrayed what I thought would be a good action to do. So it was somewhat self-deception. And then you can kind of apply that to just everything in life, right? If it's like if my wife's like having a tough day or something like that, and I'm like, man, ideally, what would make her day better would be if I go clean up or something. Like, and if I don't do that, then I'm imagining a little bit of self-deception, which you can't always do that thing. You can't always uh get rid of self-deception, but it at least makes you think about it. And I think I've had times since I read the book where I'm just like, yeah, I would, yeah, because you think about your head, you're like, yeah, this will be the right thing to do. And so like I start not doing it, I'm like, no, I'll do it. But anyway, that's
Heather
kind of what the book was about.
Heather makes me think about that a lot because like we'll be driving along and she'll like see a dog, like maybe a stray dog or maybe like an escaped dog on the side of the road. We'll be like driving to church, like in our church clothes. It's raining outside, and she'll see a dog and she'll be like, "We need to get out and help that dog." It's like we're going to church. I'm in my good clothes. Already late. It's raining. I have no idea if that dog has anything. It's like inside, I'm like, we really should. Like somebody's probably looking for that dog, but then I
Yeah.
don't do it. Absolutely, no. I get that. Do I want to do it? Like,
Uh,
kinda. I know it's the right thing to do. It's a
no, just
dog. It's
interesting.
a smart dog. It'll find its way home. That's usually what I tell myself to try to try to get myself over it.
Yeah,
He'll find his
and
way.
of course they did it more so in the way of like corporate of like working on a team and stuff like that. Anyway, not important. Real,
But Chris and I listen. Chris reads comics, and I read Harry Potter like on audiobook, like once a year. That's got to count for
yeah.
something. We read. We read. Chris, any other projections? Any other predictions you want to lean into on this? I don't know if
Hmm.
we've got enough to go on, really, but
Uh, Here's a vague speculation is that I won't like this book as much as Rise of Kyoshi, but I will like it more than Shadow of Kyoshi.
I will agree with that. And then I'm gonna make one more kind of sort of. This is a very mild prediction. I'm gonna say that where Kyoshi was this kind of like Superman bender, like the strength and like just I don't know how you want to describe it, but bending in big impressive quantity of power. I'm gonna guess that maybe Yangchen's just gonna be like by nature being an nomad is gonna be like more tactical or more stealthy or more
Hmm.
one-on-one type oriented. Whereas it felt like every time we see Kyoshi bend in anything, she was always just like wrecking an entire pirate ship or blowing up an
Yeah,
entire gang or whatever. It's like I feel like this is going to be more of a less of a bending spectacle, and it's going to be more about her other gifts.
I think that's pretty fair.
It's a pretty tame prediction, but it feels like about as much as I can contrive. So I hope it's
Yeah.
stealth. Honestly, I hope she uses stealth to like infiltrate some kind of gang base by herself, and her friends like telling her not to go, and she gets in and she gotta like decide whether or not to murder the leader of this gang. And then because we know Yang Chen, she doesn't give it a second thought. She like conjures like an air
Yeah.
blade of some type, just chops his head
I
off.
think she gives it a lot of thought, but
Nope, she's already thought about it at this point. Uh,
no, Kyoshi's the one that doesn't give it a. Even Kyoshi gave it a thought. I love that scene. I say scene, but it's a passage
Scene
where
up
she's
here,
like,
right up here.
she's holding the is
Little Prince
Zhu. I
guy.
think his name is
What's his
Zhu.
name? Yeah.
No, not Prince guy. He was a firebender. He was the first one we see lightning bending. She's holding his shoe up in
Oh,
the
yeah,
air,
yeah.
and then she's like she can hear her past lives, some of them disagreeing with her actions right now, but she didn't care. And then she like takes the life out of him. She's floating about like probably 3 stories up in the air, and then she drops him, and then he dies.
Well, I was thinking about the other time when she chose not to kill the little kid or not
Yeah,
to let the assassin kill the little kid or whatever. But no, I for whatever reason I kind of hope it's like a secret stealth mission of some type. I think because I
mm,
enjoyed that part of Shadow of Rise of Kyoshi so much when they like had to break into the manor essentially and try to assassinate
yeah,
that guy. I enjoyed that portion so
yes,
much that I kind of hope
yeah.
that's the primary conflict or the primary climax. But that's not a prediction. That's just a hope. Chris, any final thoughts?
Oh, other thing, she did not have her airbending tattoo, so she wasn't a master of airbending yet by the age of 11, which is we know that because
Lame.
Aang is when Aang was got his tattoos at that point he was the youngest to get his airbending tattoos, and then Jinora was younger than him. That'd be interesting. Like hey, you got to get your airbending tattoos first before you can move on to the other elements. Oh, we'll probably hey yeah, well I'm sure at some point in the story, we will see her get her airbending tattoos unless they just skip over that. So that'd be kind of interesting to see that ceremony from the Avatar's perspective.
Or maybe she'll like earn her stripes, so to speak, pun intended, at the end of the book. Like whatever she does, it'll be
What
it'll
if
be
she like kills
controversial, but she'll earn
yeah.
them.
Well what if she kills somebody before getting tattoos and then the air nomads are like, well she's mastered air like we can't have an air avatar not have her tattoos. Like,
One
I
if
don't know.
like one little grimy guy in the back raises her hand. They're all debating like she murdered somebody. We can't give her tattoos. And one guy's like, well, she murdered him with fire bending. Well, so like I'm just saying,
I
like
mean,
that's a good point. Let's.
I do think we're going to get into some moral conundrums more so than in Kyoshi novels. Because Kyoshi was kind of like I'm on a quest to kill these people, and I'm going to kill them.
And she's working with a band of bandits. Like
Yeah.
the
Well,
conundrum was
okay. She was
already done.
yeah. She wasn't like trying to kill like a lot of people. She was like this one person. I'm going to kill him and watch the life drain out of him by my
It's
hands.
gonna be fast, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it. No, this is gonna have some more, maybe even slightly political to an air nomad degree of politics involved. I could see that
Yeah.
happening. Well, good call out. Final thoughts? Anything else to add?
I don't think I have anything else to add. I'm just looking forward to. Oh, I did email the publisher and requested a early review copy.
How'd that go for you?
I emailed them today, so we'll see how
Oh,
that.
okay, okay. Listen,
Yeah,
tell them one time we had a panel and it was very successful.
I didn't mention the panel. Like they have a whole form to fill out, and I said pretty much like I'm humbly requesting a review copy for review purposes. We reviewed the Kyoshi novels and um, covered with various videos and on the podcast. Non-spoiler review, theory, things like that. It's amassed over tens of thousands of views. I would greatly appreciate a review copy. So we'll see how that comes
Nicely
along.
done. Nicely done. Hey, the last time you shot in the dark, we got to have a panel. So
That's
fingers crossed.
true.
Fingers crossed. What's I'll just come to your house that day. We'll take turns and pass it back and forth. It'll be great. Hopefully it's in the summertime, I guess.
Oh, no, never mind. I'll mention this on next episode. It's not really related to this.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, I don't really have anything else to chat about in this particular episode, Chris, unless you do.
I do not.
Excellent. In that case, thank you so much for watching our not what is it? Not Rise. What's the other one?
Dawn.
Dawn. Dawn of Yangchen thoughts and previews and predictions. We appreciate it. I'm Shawn. That's Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek, of YouTube and Twitter. I will put all the stuff as normal down in the description. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Oh, thank you for the happy birthday wishes, people.
Also, that. Chris, congratulations on staying alive longer. You did it. See you later, everyone.
Another trip around the sun.
One day older than you were yesterday.
One day, no, I think I'm wiser.
You're definitely wiser. You look wiser. There's at least one more gray hair. That's a wisdom hair. I got them in my eyebrows now, man. It's weird.
I get a big piece in my forehead.